Gavel. Hi, everyone. We're live now. Welcome to our June 4th, 6 p.m. Select Board meeting. And we are being recorded by we're broadcast live by CTSP. Thanks to Diego. Clarence, are you recording?
Yes.
We are also being recorded by Clarence and Birch Regal. There's chairs inside if you'd like to come in, ma'am.
Oh, that's okay.
Plenty of room.
Thank you. Unless you're going to close the door on me.
Oh, no.
We wouldn't do that.
It gets warm in this room in the summer. That's the short. In terms of announcements, Smitty asked me to pass on, and we've talked about this before, the traveling wall, the Vietnam Traveling Memorial Wall, from July 10th to the 13th, between 9 and 6 p.m., it'll be at our own War Memorial Baseball Field. That's over on Hyde Street here in Lenox. So again, can you zoom in on that? Thank you. We have the permanent memorial under construction. People have probably seen that to the right of Town Hall when you come in. The foundations are done. We're waiting for the stone and connections and whatnot, but the actual memorial traveling wall will be here on those dates. And that's all I have from announcements.
Can I make an announcement?
Please do.
This is for the DPW. Everybody's obviously seen the construction work around town, and tearing up all the old pavers and putting concrete down in certain pavers in certain areas. And a thing that was brought up at the town meeting when we proposed this was that, because pavers are still good, and if anybody wanted pavers to do a project at home, every one is there. It's like picking up a $10 bill for the cost of pavers. If you want them, anybody can have them, and they're all down at the War Memorial Field, and they're free for the taking. Just drive down, there's a big pile of them, and just take all you need. It was a good idea. Somebody brought that up at town meeting, so we followed through on that. We want to get rid of them too.
Thank you.
Hopefully by July 10th.
Yeah, so that project will stop at the end of June, basically, and then pick up again in the fall to finish anything. That's been our plan all along.
Mm-hmm. Trying to work around the tourist season, the big part of it.
I think I'm getting off track here, but the company that's been doing the sidewalks and paperwork, they've been working really well to accommodate businesses. I haven't seen too many people suffer for too much in terms of closing and whatnot. But great. Let's do the minutes and then I'll do open forum.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes for what date?
May 20.
May 21.
May 21.
Second.
Any concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Does anybody want to address us who's not here for business that's later on in the meeting? For open forum. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any, so Ed, let's start with our first item on the consent agenda. We're going to do the
Consent agenda. Yeah. First one is an easement. National Grid requests an easement to allow for upgrades to existing equipment at various locations on Housatonic Street and Willow Creek Road. National Grid will need to install anchors that will reach out and touch a small portion of town property to secure the poles. This easement serves as permission to install anchors on the poles enumerated in their request dated May 2nd, 2025. And I'll just explain, this is a very simple thing. They've just got half a dozen poles that need to be anchored a little better than they are. The guy wire is going to come down on town property, so it's not a big invasive thing. And next on the consent agenda is collective bargaining agreement between Town of Lenox and Lenox Patrol Association, MSCOP Local 362, for fiscal years 26 through 28. And I would imagine the town manager wants to speak on that.
Sure, I can just add a few things. We had a successful contract negotiation with members of our police department union. We have a 3-year contract in place through fiscal year 28. That includes a 2.5% cost of living increase for all 3 years. We did a base wage adjustment for our sergeant, who was really number 2 in the department. We adjusted the special detail rate to make that competitive with other communities across the county and region. We adjusted some language in overtime to clarify it a little bit more than what it was. As usual in these contracts, there's gray language. We tried to clean that up. as best we could. We modified some language for the sick leave agreement so that officers have the ability to regulate a little bit better their sick bank. Another officer can use another officer's sick time, so we wanted to clarify some of that. We adjusted language of how we define work week. We increased our uniform stipend from $1,500 to $1,800, again competitive with other departments in the county. We allowed the vice president of the union to receive a couple of compensated leave days, along with the president to do union business. And we introduced language talking about eventual adoption of some applicable military leave statutes that some of our officers serve in the military. And again, it's a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2028. So that now completes the DPW contract, police contract, and we're close on fire. Should have all those wrapped up by the beginning of the fiscal year, not have to worry about any back pay issues. We'll be current and ready to go for July 1.
Thanks. You know, we talked about that, and, you know, things seem to be moving along well with each of our contracts, and we've got this to sign.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And we'll get this signed and back to you, Deanna. Correct?
Yep.
All right. Under general business.
Let me read it, or?
I'll read it. So the first one is a liquor license amendment for Ivy Way Hospitality LLC, which is doing business as the Cornell Inn, which is at 203 Main Street. Their request is to amend the annual all alcohol on-premises hotel license for a change of license manager from Aryan Mahmoodi to Jean Morrissey. Did I say those names correctly?
You did.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hello,
Hi.
I'm Grace Enschel from Keller & Robbins, here representing Ivy Way Hospitality, and with me is Ms. Jean Morrissey. Correct, thank you for reading it in. We are looking to amend the liquor license to reflect a change of manager. Mr. Mahmoodi is the sole manager of the LLC that holds the liquor license, as well as the same entity that holds real estate. And he served as manager while he oversaw the transition. He purchased the business and the land back in February. As you recall, we were here for the transfer of the license, and now he's ready to hand it off to his manager. Ms. Morrissey here has been the executive manager at the Cornell Inn under the previous ownership since December 2022.
Yeah.
And she's ready to take over, so we're seeking that amendment. And wonder if you have any questions, Ms. Morrissey's here to answer them.
I don't personally have any questions. You've been here, you know, throughout the transition of ownership, and we appreciate the heads up and that you're dotting the i's and crossing the t's, so.
Jean, would you have to say anything to the board?
There's nothing else really to add on. Obviously, the transition is a couple months in and going smoothly, so we just want to
Great, yeah.
transfer that if possible, and
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
of course.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve the request of Ivy Way Hospitality LLC, doing business as the Cornell Inn, located at 203 Main Street, for a change of license manager from Aryan Mahmoodi to Jean Morrissey on their annual all-alcoholic on-premises hotel liquor license, contingent on full payment of taxes and fees due to the town.
Second.
Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
You guys,
Thank you.
do you get to go home, or are you going downstairs now?
Downstairs.
Work never ends.
Thank you.
All right, the next one we're going to need to have a public hearing for. Do you want me to start with what we have in the general business?
Well, let's just open the public hearing.
Yes.
And do it, yeah. Want to open it?
I'd make a motion to open a public hearing to hear the request of a transfer of all alcohol license for BH Berkshire's, also doing business as Berkshire on Pole.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. So is there somebody here to speak on this matter? Jeff?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Lynch. With me is Alex Chevalier.
Nice to see you
And-
Again.
So, Lifehouse, the former Days Inn, was opened and licensed for hotel license back in 2021. The management company is now changing. Alex is staying on as the license manager for the property, so continuity is there from one management company to another. The new management company is VH Berkshires LLC. In your packet of information identifies who the principals are. They're also going to change the name, so it's a DBA approval also for Berkshire Untold. Their operation hours, just for your information, are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 11, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 1 a.m., Sunday, 9 to 11 p.m. Outside service, there is an outdoor patio that overlooks Route 7 and out to the Taconic Range, so it's very nice. Outdoor service ends at 10 o'clock p.m. and indoor bar service ends at midnight. So
Is that a change, Jeff?
that is not a change,
Okay.
consistent with what was agreed upon back in 2020.
Okay.
So no changes at all anticipated. Again, we have the continuity of Alex, who's been there now for how long?
It's going on 3 years soon.
Okay, excellent. So it's a approval for a transfer of the liquor license and approval of the DBA name change.
Well, I remember a few years ago when this was first brought up, it was kind of contentious.
Yes.
And as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but there's been no issues at all.
No, they've actually become great friends of the hotel. I think you're talking about 10 Oaks or
Yeah,
12, just 12 Oaks right up the street. The president and his wife come in for dinner all the time. They bring friends. We created a corporate code for their family, so they don't want the family staying in the house with them. They're somewhere really close by, so we can take that on for them. But no, the relationship has been amazing. Marty, the whole team have been great to me. That whatever happened before, that's way before me. It's been super positive, and everyone's been great.
It all worked out.
Oh yeah,
It's been great.
absolutely.
Good for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The outside.
The outside was the sticking point.
I don't recall thinking, before you were here, Jay, I don't recall getting any complaints at all.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Yeah, I'll move that we close the public hearing on this. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the request of LH Manager Northeast LLC located at 194 Pittsfield Road to transfer their annual all-alcoholic on-premises hotel license to VH Berkshires LLC doing business as Berkshire Untold, contingent on full payment of taxes and fees due to the town.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Thank you
Jeff.
all.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice to
you.
see you.
Pleasure as always.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Enjoy the outside, now it's finally outdoor
Oh yeah.
weather.
8-year-old's baseball game to go to.
Good. You got another.
You got another
We don't-
public hearing.
These were advertised, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't think I have the language for the advertising. I'm going to just read it off the agenda. So the next public hearing we have is for Mazzio's Italian Deli, LLC, doing business as Mazzio's Italian Deli, seeking a new annual wine and malt off-premises package store license with a proposed licensing manager named Mia Gabriella Ortega. How did I do with that?
You did perfect.
I know Tony's standing behind you.
Yes,
And they've been here before, but this is a new
yes, first
configuration.
for me. but
New
yes.
generations,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. So I need to make a motion to open a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can give you the real formal presentation, or I can give you the down and pleasant welcome to Lenox and be kind and you tell me.
The easier for you to
The
do, the
easier?
better.
My
Diego
friend,
is going to ask you to just go ahead and say your name and
sure.
officially, even though we
Chairman,
don't.
members of the board, Thomas Hamill, Courtney Lee and Hamill in Pittsfield on behalf of the applicant. The applicant is Tony Mazzio and a group of his investors who are employees of his. They're all laid out in the application. His manager is Mia Mazzio Ortega, his daughter. Okay? This is the same proposal that we came in, I think, 2021, okay, and that you approved and laid out. The players are a little different, but Tony's still the majority of everything, and it's Tony's face on the wall, and everybody expects to see Tony there, and if I haven't said Tony enough, let me know, okay? Yeah, perfect. And we're looking for a available beer and wine license. Off premises, it's going to be a traditional Italian deli. Happy to answer any questions you may have. I won't belabor.
So they're not going to sell booze to customers eating there?
That's correct. You're not ordering a sandwich,
Yeah.
getting a draft, and drinking, and enjoying a meal. It is not. It is, you can get a sandwich, you can buy a six-pack, but that six-pack staying in the bag if you're eating your sandwich at the table.
I can't, even if I buy it, I can't drink it there.
It's an off-premise license.
Gotcha.
No problem. Okay.
That's essentially similar to what, is it your cousin or brother? Cousin, correct? Cousin, Mike across the street?
Yes.
At Guido's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can go to Guido's, I can
Right.
eat something from their bar or deli, smoothie, buy the wine from.
Well, they just do the meat, seafood, and they hold a license for the beer and wine. They don't, Mazio's is just meat, seafood.
Right. Oh, I thought Mike was.
No, they're at the deli.
They're compartmentalized with the mess here.
He does hold the liquor, the
Yeah.
beer and wine license there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know, it's confusing because I know
Yeah.
Maziero's, I know.
Yeah.
I've known Mike forever. But yes, you've been to us before. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, great. Sounds up and up.
Yeah.
Because I
Like
think
as
it would
much as I
be,
did 5 years ago.
You like it? Thank you.
It would be really nice to have that space filled.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
a lot of people have been really anxious to see that space filled, and since you guys are coming back, everybody loved mascots. I'm sure you're going to do very well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if I can say, I'm happy to be back. You guys are great, the board's great, the inspectors, it's a very friendly place to do business. Lennox does a really great job.
Good, thank
I
you.
need to add that.
Thanks for saying that.
thanks, we appreciate
We'd love to
it.
hear
Yeah, everybody's, it's
We try not to
very,
be hard.
very friendly to do business here. And I'm glad we're back at it.
Glad to have you.
Anything else before I close the hearing?
I'm good.
All right. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have a,
I'll make a motion to approve request of Mazio's Italian Deli LLC, doing business as Mazio's Italian Deli, located at 490 Pittsfield Road, for a new annual wine and malt off-premises package store license with proposed license manager Mia Gabriella Ortega, contingent on full payment of taxes and fees due to the town.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming in again. Good luck
Thank
with
you
this.
guys so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Good luck, we'll see you.
Thank you. Now we go back to Masco's.
Okay, the last thing we have is we are going to, we'd like to approve a purchase and sale agreement for acquisition of 10 acres. And I'll describe this because the language is not particularly descriptive of what exactly we're doing. But first I'll read it. So we have a purchase and sale that has been negotiated successfully by Jay and his staff and the land use staff for 10 acres. The property is called 0 Main Street, parcel ID 22-3-0. The actual location of this property is essentially bounded on 3 sides by the existing Kennedy Park. The southern boundary, if you will, abuts what we now think of as a trail, but back before we had a land description of Kennedy Park, Wolseley Trail was officially, well, not officially, I should say, in 1946 it was contemplated to be a real road. So this land is there, adjacent to a trail. We walk through it if you're in Kennedy Park. We didn't own it until we will if we agree to this purchase and sale. And then the process that we've worked out is that upon Jay and the land use team negotiating this purchase and sale agreement, the CBC has indicated that they would entertain an off-cycle application review. The applicant would essentially be the town or the land use department, and CBC would fund this. The purchase price is $250,000. CPC would fund it through their land conservation money. They have ample funds in that bucket of the 4 buckets within CPC funds to do that. So once CPC has that off-cycle process, we expect in the fall, sometime in November when we have a special town meeting, that this would become up for town to approve. What is essentially land that we've looked at for many, many years and finally come to fruition, that we've successfully worked with the family, who would have been fantastic, and want this property to be part of a legacy that's part of Kennedy Park. So that's a long-winded way of saying that we are going to add 10 acres of Kennedy Park that we think of as the park, but did not own. By November, we will own it as the town.
December 31st is the scheduled closing date. And we will perform the title search in advance of town meeting in November in order to be sure we have good title. We want to be sure that what we take is not, a couple of years from now, we're going to have somebody show up and say, I have an intervening ownership in this. We don't want to do that. So it's worth the risk of $500 to spend it up front and go through that. And our legal team at KP Law has been very helpful with it, and as well as advice coming from the Kennedy Park Committee. Rose is here tonight if you want to listen to her a little bit, but I think we're all in agreement that it's time to do this. It's a great opportunity. CPC has the funds, fits within the use of those funds, and that's our next step, the CPC. Damon's working with Chairman Delasco to schedule a time in order to entertain the town's application.
How do we do in describing it?
You did pretty well. I'm pretty impressed. I'm Ruth Wheeler, and I'm the chair of the Kennedy Park Committee. I'm just so excited, I can't believe it. I have known this piece of property since I moved here in '76, and I noticed that we didn't own this 10 acres in the middle of the park. And so we've gone into executive session any number of times. We've had the Lenox Land Trust also contact the family, and over the years, we've probably contacted them 5 or 6 times. And now they're ready to sell. It's great. It sounds like what you're doing and what Jay has done is just unbelievable. And just, I think it's great. I think the townspeople will be on board as long as we can explain that this is really right in the center of the park. The main trail, the Woolsey Trail goes up there, but also Aspinwall goes right through the middle of it. And so, yeah, it's really exciting. So thank you, Jay and everyone else.
That's the new guy in town, and I'm still going to use the new guy for a while, sorry.
I thought I banned that.
Ruth, it's very helpful to come in and give me the history of it. It's important as a town manager to coming, although I'm not new to Lenox, I am new in Lenox. So it's helpful to understand the history with these parcels, because we do have a lot of irons in the fire. So when we get, you can never predict, you can never plan for these opportunities when the doors open. You got to know when to walk by or walk in.
This is an unbelievable opportunity, considering that it took me at least 25 minutes to explain. I brought in all the books and all the timetable and all the years, and all the executive sessions and everything, and so it's great.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Obviously, Kennedy Park is a huge asset for the community and the town. Are there any other parcels within the park or abutting the park that we should be looking at?
That would be the last piece, because everything on the edges is all privately owned, and it's not really right in the park, like Reservoir Road isn't really, I don't think you necessarily want anything on Reservoir Road. On West Mountain Road is all the Audubon. And of course, as a lot of people don't know, there's been a lot of land transactions between the town and Audubon. So most of what Audubon did have in the middle of the park, we now have.
Right.
However, the far end by Reservoir Road is still all Audubon, which we have the town has an agreement for trail maintenance, and we are maintaining that parcel. So that's all been codified. I can't think of anything else. I mean, Sam Greenfield gave a huge piece of land. The state transferred the Dugway property, that's how we got a swamp. That was very nice of them.
It's metaphorical.
That has washed out the Grand Canyon.
I have to wash my dog after we go out there.
Yeah, Baker's Pond, I mean, there's a Grand Canyon there now that's washed out the trail that used to go around there, so I can't really think of anything.
Okay, I
Dave.
just, I mean, obviously, we wouldn't want to let something slip by.
Well, we did many, many, many years ago, when I first came on the board, and I was told, oh, they can never build off Reservoir Road, don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept getting shot down and shot down and shot down, and I said, oh, yes, money talks.
Yes.
And sure enough, all those houses up there, when we could have had them off of Reservoir Road, are now private
Yes, they are.
road, which is, they've got great views. I'm jealous, but.
Well, we can't do much about that, but we wouldn't
No.
want that to happen again.
Right, yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I think I might be veering off topic for this because we really want to accomplish this, and this is, like yourself, I think it's easy to explain to town at town meeting because so many of us would walk through there and be unaware that this was a privately owned chunk of land in the middle of our park. But the thing I was curious about, when you're on Undermountain and you make the turn south, is
Under
there-
Mountain, inside the park or under Mountain
No, below
No.
Reservoir on Undermountain Road.
Road? Okay.
I've heard it mentioned different ways. Is there any small swath that you can get from, say you were at Parsons Marsh and you walked up the road,
Oh.
the part of the home farm, can you
Well,
get
that's
up?
not part of Kennedy Park, but
But you can get up-
BNRC has some.
PNRC, that's right.
BNRC has some grandiose idea, hopefully it comes to fruition, of making a trail from their property up to Kennedy Park,
Right.
but it doesn't exist, as far as I know, yet.
We looked at that 5, 6 years ago, when the spring wanted to do their
Right,
thing there.
yep.
And we looked at that corner up there, and that road changed. It
Right.
used to go up and around, now it goes straight across. There's land in the middle of it, but then you can walk from there up to the Woolsey Reservoir. There is a right-of-way through there. Apparently, it's a right-of-way, that's what I'm told.
I've
Right.
walked as if it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible, it's washed out and pretty steep, but yeah.
Because
Would be great.
we talked about it to get all the connectivity between all the high
Right,
roads
because
and all that.
Kevin Sprague used to ski up that to the little reservoir there.
Yeah.
I could never do that.
No, me either.
No, but it's amazing how many people don't know that that 10 acres doesn't belong to Kennedy Park.
Right,
It
going back
really-
to this one.
And we've kept it, and partly it's the fault of the Kennedy Park Committee, but we've kept it quiet because we were hoping eventually to be able to purchase it. So it's kind of a two-edged sword. Now that you've made it public, I can start shouting off the rooftops and people will be really surprised.
The sellers did sign purchase sale agreement prior to tonight's meeting, and that was
That's really good
strategic.
news. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think this is ultimately their wish.
That's the feeling we've got during negotiations, yes. Like most property, in Lenox, I think most people are aware of the value of it. We're lucky to have that here in town where our property is valuable. But yet, at the same time, they didn't do anything with it for years for whatever reason, but it was very clear during negotiations that if we could come up with a beneficial deal, they would prefer to deal with the people of the town of Lenox. And I think they understood the public value in the town acquiring
Right, the one, was it the grandfather that really would really like to see the town have it? So that's always, I guess he's got the other family members on board, which is really nice.
When you do the math per acre, Dave, you and I chatted about it, for 10 acres in Lenox at this price, I think the public should feel, confident that this is a good price for what we're getting.
Yeah.
Considering
And
it's
we're
an
using
environmental
CPC money for what it's intended to use
Yes.
for.
That's also a critical component, because as people have heard us talk about, again, a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of priorities, a lot of expenses, And there's not a whole lot of buckets that we can pay for these things. This is right within square of what the CPC is supposed to do. Of the 3 buckets, it's open space. Open space like this doesn't come along every day, so this is exactly why we adopted CPA and what the CPC looks at, and it's a perfect fit. This is why we do that, why we have that money, and it's additional taxpayer dollars that went into the CPC fund that are now being asked back out for public usage, not going to even a private entity.
It's not going to increase anybody's taxes.
Nope,
No.
not a penny.
No,
It
and
would
they've
actually be
been
very
paying
difficult.
such little taxes on it, so you're not, a lot of times that's a question that people ask, well,
We're not losing
we're taking
any
it off
money.
the tax rolls, well, what
This
do
was
they-
on the town card for $73,000. It might have been 1,000 or 2 of taxes max.
Yeah, it was like under $1,000.
Yeah, under 1,000.
It was assessed around 74,000.
Yeah, so,
That's one of the first things I looked at, was worried about, if we were giving them a big tax benefit, but
and the other thing is, yeah, I can't remember what I was gonna say, but that's okay.
Sorry.
I think we all think this is smooth sailing. I mean, we'll be, but I don't want to predict, but it'd be surprising to me if the town didn't value this. I mean, we can't pull that money out of CPC without a more difficult discussion before town.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say, is that we're not gonna be asking for money to improve that either. It's a done deal, there's a trail through there now. So, you're not getting into any kind of long-term money that the park committee is gonna ask for, as far as I know.
And for our legal folks watching at home that may think this, we did look up the option of, because meaning the public, has improved the property by putting on the trails, et cetera, there's an argument to say that, well, we should own it that way. Well, no, we would only own the trail itself. We would have an easement by prescription.
Right.
Which means we've used it, therefore, we haven't been told to stop. There's been no effort to stop us. So we went that route. All the public would have ended up owning is just the trails in the land, not the underlying fee or the property. And we felt in this situation it was best to purchase the entire property, have full control over it, and now Kennedy Park is contiguous, including the pre-existing trail.
And CPC, they've already signaled that they're ready to do this. I'll remind people that we had an off-cycle discussion the last time we bought the 30 acres off of East Dugway Road.
Yes, that's right.
And we'll make sure that when Eamon works with CPC and schedules the date, we'll announce the date, so, people who want to be supportive of that process can appear at the next opportunity to be heard.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, thank you.
So, Ed, I think we need a motion to approve this.
I think we do, so I'll make a motion to approve the purchase and sale agreement for the acquisition of approximately 10 acres of property at 0 Main Street, parcel ID 22-3-0, adjacent to Kennedy Park.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. If people want to see like a map, I mean, you can go on the
GIS.
GIS on the Lenox. If you follow the assessor's link to GIS and type in this parcel ID, it'll show you a picture. Because the 0 Main Street is confusing.
It's weird, yeah.
But many undeveloped, unbuilt properties will have to do that. But you'll be able to see that. You can get a satellite view. I had done all this when we were first thinking about this, so people who are in the public who want to see where this is can find that out. And with that, we're meeting again on June 18th. Anything before we close?
I'm good.
All right.
What's up?
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diego.